Welcome everyone to the 26th episode of Conversations with T. This is T speaking, and today's episode is going to be a little bit different. Instead of having one guest, I have two. Both of these ladies attend the same university as I do, and they're also doing their masters. They're international students like me, and they're from Indonesia. I'm so excited to record an episode with them, and believe me, everyone, they're super fun people to be around. How have you been, Nadea and Jelita?
I've been doing really great. Thank you for inviting us to the podcast Conversation with T. So
No
excited to be
problem. No
here.
problem. Thank you both for joining me today. Before we have our discussion, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourselves? Please mention your age and an interesting fact about you.
Sure. Okay. Let me start probably. So my name is Nadea Zahra and I'm from Indonesia. Right now I'm 28 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing my master's in public administration at the School of Public Policy in the UCL.
I'm Jelita from Indonesia as well, and I'm taking public of Master of Public Administration in UCL, same program as Nadia, because I met her in this program.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 25 years old.
Thank you for sharing all of that with the listeners and myself. And touching about what I mentioned previously, the three of us are international students, and studying abroad has its ups and downs. And even though it can be something fun to experience, there are certain things which I think many international students struggle with, such as homesickness and getting used to a completely different and new culture. Now, what were some of the challenges that the both of you personally dealt with after you left Indonesia?
Yeah, maybe I'll start to answer that. So I think the personal challenge when I got to London, first of all, is actually the weather.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Indonesia, like it's only there's only like we have only two weather, which is hot or either hot or raining.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no winter, there's no like fall, autumn, or summer. But then when I got here, like the winter was so cold, and we gotta prepare for like the weather changing as well as the. For me, like I'm a Muslim, the challenge is actually to adjust with the time prayer as well as
Mm-hmm.
and during the winter, like the time prayer becomes much shorter
Oh yeah.
than the other seasons. So
Mm-hmm.
that is actually what I face my biggest challenge in terms of coming here. Another, like the food or like friends getting to know each other, I don't find it like a very challenging for me because I think the food here, like it's really easy to find, like suitable food like Asian food, Indonesian food, as well as halal food, as well as making friends here. Like all of the people are very friendly, especially the people in our class. We're all from different countries, so we know each other. How to actually support each other better in this foreign country for us. I think that's pretty much it from me. Maybe Jolita, you wanna add more?
Uh, I think I want to add about I think before coming to London, I have a lot of like expectation, imagination about, kind of afraid because I will be alone and so on. But after I got here, I have a lot of friends, especially Nadia, because we've met in our class. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think have someone that you can depend on and
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of similarities with you is very helpful. So I don't really find it's difficult to adapt in London because I have someone who exactly facing the same, you know, condition, adaptation situation with me. So it's really manageable, and yeah, I find it's fun to do that with your friend.
I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you both for sharing that with me and the listeners. For me personally, I would say I struggled with homesickness quite a lot when I moved to the US for the very first time, and that was back in 2015. Yeah, everything seemed foreign to me. I was just so used to being around people who followed the same religion, spoke the same language, ate the same food, wore the same traditional attire, and grew up with the same culture as I did. I, however, could not say the same for America. There were also people from different parts of the world, which was cool, don't get me wrong, but I felt out of place. Even though I did meet Bangladeshis there, it wasn't really the same as they were brought up there and I wasn't. Um, and there were certain things in America which were very new to me, such as having to mention which pronouns I use after introducing myself. I was so confused when the other girls did that during a big meeting in my dorm. And yeah, I just went with the flow, I guess. And I also noticed another thing about American culture is that Americans, like, they place so much importance when it comes to the topic of identity, and I thought that was quite interesting. um Back in Bangladesh, however, I don't think people seem to give that a lot of importance. Things are more straightforward, if you guys know what I mean, and that was the norm. Was it like that in Indonesia as well?
Yeah, I think it's a very different culture between Western culture and Indonesian culture because we really have a high value on politeness and so on. But here we can call our professor name with their own name because
Oh yeah.
yeah, I find that difficult as well. But in terms of general culture, because we've known this kind of Western culture like from television, movies. I think we already know some of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, as I got here, I think like I
It's
don't think yeah, because if I found in yeah stuck in that kind of situation, I already have in mind that it's it's a different culture. I
mm,
already know that, so I don't have to take that to my heart. Like, so
mm,
just keep going with any situation, and be more understand like, oh, that's kind of culture they have, so it's fine. And I think there's another thing that I want to share.
mhm.
I think I'm not really having a difficulties in here because it's London, it's a capital city. So there's a lot of people with diverse culture are study here. So
Mhm.
as me as a Muslim, I don't find I am as the minority or something because I find I can meet a lot of Muslim here. But if you travel to countryside, then you will find a different culture that will maybe shock you because maybe have a limited uh food offer that you can eat or something, because in London we have a lot of diverse food,
Mhm.
halal or vegan or something, so it's not really that difficult being as a Muslim or international student in London because this place is a diverse. But if you live in a countryside, maybe it will be a different story.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's one of the things I appreciate about London, actually. Like, I like how it's very diverse and there's so many different cultures here. Um, Another thing which I personally found difficult to deal with was the racism that was present in my American university. And I understand that may be hard to believe, but because I study in Boston, and it's like a student place. I mean, students from different parts of the world go there to study and whatnot, but racism was still present in my university. Even though no one said anything outrageous to my face, alhamdulillah, I still felt the vibes, you know. I felt excluded from group activities by these white girls, and there were certain individuals who did not like the fact that I was Muslim. There was this one girl actually who would glare at me whenever we crossed paths, and that was not a nice thing to experience. There were also these Pakistani American girls who had this attitude problem towards me, and they made me feel inferior because I was born and raised in the subcontinent. I honestly don't like nonsense such as these. Just because someone was brought up somewhere else does not automatically make a person more superior, right?
Yeah, maybe I can add into that Tanhas because I went to Boston as well.
Mhm.
Which university again that you went? Sorry,
Simmons University.
Simons.
Simmons University. It's one of the colleges of Fenway.
Oh, okay.
It's near
Is it in
Northeastern. It's near Northeastern University.
near Northeastern? I see. Okay. Yeah, because I do have experience of racism back in the US,
Oh,
but
really?
then not in the university area because um I went to the Boston University, which is located in the city, just
Mhm.
like UCL right now.
Mhm.
And I feel like all the people are very open-minded, and also they're very like friendly towards Muslim, and the Islamic society there as well are very like welcoming us, and even like we're like a small family over there,
Mhm.
and like other like races, other countries as well are very like friendly in the campus area. But
Mhm.
then when I go outside, like for example, when I went to Utah or like the what do you call like
Midwest.
Midwest,
Yeah.
yeah, Midwest area of the US, like I did feel like racism and hatred towards me. Like for example, so at that time, I wore my hijab already back in the US.
Mhm.
And then when I went to like a restaurant, like all eyes were on me, like, like looking at me like, why did you end up being here? And
No.
although like I didn't get any like verbal abuse, but then I knew that they were looking at me with that glare. And then another occasion was when I was in Massachusetts, but not in Boston. It's like a bit out of it. If
Mhm.
you know the red line, like the end of the red line at the time.
Mhm.
Um, it was Braintree or what, I forgot. But then I got shouted by like people who were driving.
Mhm.
Um, they were shouting at me and saying that go back to your country, something like that. And I was like, what?
Seriously?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I was just walking down at night after campus to my friend's house, and I got shouted like go back to your country, and I'm like, what? But
Most
nothing happened. Yeah.
people
No,
are
like
weird, honestly. It makes no
yeah.
sense because Massachusetts, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a very diverse place. I mean, there are people from different cultures and whatnot, and you should expect people to be more open-minded, you know? It makes
Yeah, exactly.
sense.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, especially like in, I feel like probably it's a bit harder for Muslims to live in the US compared to the UK because I find it like harder to find halal food. Like the more varieties of halal food is in London compared to Boston or the US, other part of the US, I guess.
Mm.
Um, and also like the prayer places
Yeah.
it's not as many as here. In here like you can just pray anywhere, I would say. Like you go to the museum, you ask for like a quiet place and they will give you, but then in
Really?
Boston you cannot do that, right? Like
Seriously, they
you
do
have
that?
to.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, like that's the first time I heard that. I mean, museums can actually offer you a prayer place, really?
Yeah, yeah. I went to I think we went to like the VNA, like Victoria and Albert, for example.
Mhm.
You can just ask like, is there any like quiet room or like quiet space for us to pray? They
Mhm.
give you. And then I went to like the National History Museum, and then like the what museum is it? Cortland Museum, and
Mhm.
other museum or like other libraries, for example, a British Library, Wellcome Library. They have the prayer room dedicated for us. So
Oh,
it was like,
nice.
wow, it was, yeah, yeah. Selfridges as well, like the
Yeah, yeah.
shopping
Selfridges
center.
also
Yeah.
offer like a proper prayer room, Easter Village, and a
Mr.
British,
Village, yeah.
yeah,
British
British
Museum.
Museum. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
ask for a place to pray, they will like, yeah, direct you to a place that mostly Muslims will do they pray in that place. Like it's just a hole or like a corner of a a corner of the room, but it's a proper because it's clean and it's close to the toilet, so you can get your wudu. So I think people in London are more familiar with Islam
Yeah.
or with our, our culture, how we do our prayers. So even for our diet. So once me and Nadia have to go to a Korean restaurant because of our class having a dinner there.
Mhm.
We really we have like, okay, we just go to order like seafood or something, but then the waiters like also tell me that we do also provide a halal meat, like it's only for lamb or this kind of meat. So they already know that what kind of halal we eat.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
they
nice.
like explain in detail, like this is uh kind of meat that we have in halal certificate. So they explain, they know that what is halal, not just about beef or not pork or just no alcohol. So it's really, I think, because in England they have a lot of people come from uh, Pakistan or India whom are a Muslim, so they're more familiar with uh, our our cultures.
So Jelita, this correct me if I'm wrong, but this is your first time in London, right? Or were you in London before?
For me, it's my first time in London. Yeah.
Okay. So and what about you, Nadia? First time in London or
Same. First
okay.
time in London as well.
So what other things about London do you guys like? For example, I personally like shopping here better than the US. I think the fashion here is much more I like the fashion here more than um American fashion. What do you guys have to say?
About the fashion, yeah, I think each country has its own style, but I would say I like the London better because probably like I don't know, I just connect like the London's fashion with Burberry,
Okay.
like the color of Burberry. So I feel like it's very elegant and so. But then I found out that in the US it's more into like chill and like more into a sporty kind of thing. Most people in general like just walk with sneakers and like training like an exercise clothes in the tube and so on. But then here I think more people I think like more people are more dressed up and aware about their fashion,
I like
I would
shopping
say.
here. I like shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that people in here are more elegant because they always like putting a coat, a proper matching boot, and so on. Like, and also love the color tone they always wear. Like Nadia said before, it's the Burberry color. Like a lot of people in here wear earth tone color. I think because it's my favorite color, that's why I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, other than, mostly people always wear all black, but in here people are more, yeah, earth tone color. It's warming to see and it's matched with the gray weather.
Mm. And what else do you guys like about London?
What I like about London is actually the diversity.
Mm.
Um, I feel like I can meet like a lot of people from different parts of the world
Mhm.
are just like combined and just like here mingling with each other and also besides that it's not just about diversity but about how to respect each other's culture and embracing the differences that we have with like respect and also instead of um, instead of focusing on the differences we focus on how the differences can color the life of someone, so it's like a rainbow different colors combined into one into something beautiful. So I think that's what I like about London.
Well, that's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah.
What about you, Jelita? What else do you like about London?
What I like about London is I think it's culture, because one of the reason I choose London to pursue my master's is because I love the UK historical things. Like, it's a metropolitan city, but yet it's also over a lot of historical places. So if you see the architecture in here, it's very beautiful. Like, you can see a lot of era of, you know, start from medieval or maybe Victorian. I'm not really into architect or historical things, but I do love how they still preserve its history.
Mm-hmm.
So people who came here could also enjoy its history. Yeah, I think that's what I love about London.
Okay. Thank you both for sharing your thoughts with me. And I think that's all for today. Thank you again for joining me. And it was such a pleasure speaking to the both of you. I hope the rest of your day goes well. Thank you and take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much for having us as
Thank you so
well.
much. See
Thank you,
you.
everyone. Walaikum salam.
Waalaikumsalam.